Don't look away. I am Michael, captain of heaven's hosts, and I am summoning you into a room where time stands up and speaks. The summons was signed an hour ago in fire. Your name is on it. Your family's names, living and dead, are on it. You feel the ache at the base of your throat? That is recognition. You were born with this appointment hidden under your ribs. We cross the threshold and the world tilts. Streets, ceilings, clocks, everything falls away into a hall built of silence and thunder. The floor is translucent like river glass, beneath it, memories move like fish. The walls are shelves of living books, spines glowing, pages breathing. In the center stands a bench that is not furniture but a throne veiled in light. On the left, witnesses of mercy. On the right, witnesses of truth. I set my sword point down. The sound runs through the hall as a single clear note. Court is in session. A clerk of light carries forward a book wrapped in crimson ribbon. Your family book. The ribbon smokes as if embarrassed. I hear you think, we are good people. Yes. But goodness can bleed out when it is made to carry secrets. The court will not shame you, it will lance the wound so the body can heal. Open, the voice says, not thunder, but command that tastes like sunrise. The ribbon unknots on its own and the cover lifts. Pages turn by themselves, stopping at an entry blackened around the edges. The ink won't sit still, it squirms like something alive trying to escape its own confession. I speak so you do not have to, the year of the vow. The page steadies. A room appears in the air above the book, a court within the court. Night. A kitchen table. One lamp. Two figures sit, hands tight, backs tight, faces set the way people set faces when survival is bargaining with conscience. A contract lies between them, not signed with pen, signed with fear. We will never speak of this. We will protect the family name at the cost of ourselves. Someone knocks in the memory, they do not answer. Someone cries down the hall, they do not move. The vow seals. The house learns to whisper. Children learn to translate tension like a second language. That vow is the betrayal. Not of the world, of the soul. You flinch. It kept us safe, you want to argue. The court permits the thought and answers by showing fruit. The scene shifts, birthdays where candles don't matter because everyone is counting landmines, weddings where smiles hold while throats lock, holidays where laughter is a performance and plates clink too loud, funerals where eulogies are edited by fear. The vow did keep something safe, its own power. It kept love in a small room and forced it to pay rent in silence. Objection, a shadow says from the back, all honey, no heart. A shape steps forward, elegant, polite, the kind of darkness that wears cologne and insists on first names. If they break the vow, their standing will suffer, it purrs. They will lose access. They will lose the story they sell as stability. It lifts a paper made of night, reputation clause. See? They are the dependable ones. The strong ones. The quiet ones. Let them keep the role. The shadow smiles with teeth that don't belong to it. I turn and raise my blade just enough to mark the space. State your name, I say. It laughs softly. I am the benefactor. Witnesses murmur. I translate, the benefactor is the spirit that bribes families with image. It pays in compliments and collects in cowardice. It's the voice that says, shoo, keep it pretty. Keep it moving. Don't tell the truth, it is not convenient. It has been sitting in your living room for decades, nodding at report cards, polishing portraits, editing pain. Overruled, the voice says. The word lands like a bell. The benefactor's paper curls and blackens at the corners. The book flips to another page, your page. Not childhood, not the last year, the day you first told yourself, I won't do this to my future. It is written in faint light, almost shy, but it is there. You stood at a sink, hands wet, a mundane job behind a holy mutiny. You whispered, "No more pretending," and the house shuddered. A tiny crack appeared in the vow. The court has called you here because cracks are how mercy enters. I take your wrist and place your palm on the book. It's warmer than skin, humming like a heart you didn't know was yours. Tell the truth, I say. You think you can't, your stomach lifts like an elevator. Good. That is the feeling of chains thinking about breaking. But if I speak, you think, someone I love will look small. The court answers by showing them not small, human. The kitchen scene widens. You see the fear in their eyes the night they made the vow. You see the bill under the bill. You see the bruise behind the smile. Confession is not condemnation, it is context. The benefactor tries again, lowering its voice, covering its teeth. What if they lose their place in the community, it whispers. What if the cousins stop calling? What if the holidays get awkward? The gallery of mercy laughs like water. One of your ancestors steps forward, not a ghost, a witness. Her hands are rough from work, her eyes are bright. Child, she says, I'll take awkward. Give us air. She lays a palm on the page beside yours. The ink calms. The words climb into legibility, we choose light over legacy of silence. The judge lifts a hand and the room becomes a river for a breath, then returns to the hall. Call the first testimony, I say. From the right, a boy appears, not living now, but known. He is the one who kept secrets for adults. He puts down a backpack heavy with everyone else's homework. I was loyal, he says, and the word loyal cracks down the middle to reveal afraid. The court does not shame him. A robe of light falls across his shoulders. Thank you, I tell him. You were brave with a broken instruction manual. You are released. He grows taller, unburdened, and dissolves into gold that flows back into your bones. You feel stronger and you do not know why. It is because that piece of you has been freed to live in you again. Next, a woman in a dress for Sunday that fits like armor. She holds a smile in front of her like a plate. If I told the truth, she says, they would have stopped loving me. The court shows her a future she never saw, the ones who would have loved her more for the truth. She sobs once, but it is not grief, it's the sound of a door opening. I want that for them, she says, gesturing toward you, toward children you may or may not have, toward the ones who will laugh in kitchens not built yet. The plate evaporates. She sets down her hands, finally empty enough to receive. The benefactor grows impatient, it prefers slippery hearings. Enough sentiment, it snaps. Be practical. Stability has been achieved. Why disturb it? I nod as if considering, then tilt my blade. Bring the ledger, I command. A clerk of light wheels forward a tall book labeled cost. Pages riffle, migraines that began at 13, a son who drinks through holidays, a daughter who writes novels of apology in conversations that deserved one sentence, a father who never learned sleep, a mother who makes dinner for grief every night and calls it gratitude. Stability was a museum. Life stopped moving to keep the display intact. Judgment, the voice says gently, which is the strangest way to say it, gently. But mercy uses scalpels, not hammers. The hall brightens until memory cannot cast a shadow. The vow is void, the voice declares. Every benefit it claimed was rental. The rent is cancelled. Seals break like ice in spring. Somewhere you will later call real life, you will hear a neighbor's dog bark, a kettle click, a text arrive. Here, now, everything exhales. Remedy? I ask. The court spreads a map across the air, a short list of instructions disguised as ordinary acts. You read them and your chest tightens again. Tell a small truth to a safe person, write the real version of one story you've been polishing, refuse one invitation that requires a costume, bless one ancestor out loud, forgive one self you used to be, sleep 8 hours without earning it. The list is not glamorous. It is a locksmith's kit. Every small act turns a tumbler somewhere in the house of your line. The benefactor hisses, shrinks. Its suit looks cheaper when stripped of praise. There'll be nobody, it threatens as it backs toward the wall. I step forward and hold the point of my sword at its throat of smoke. We prefer nobody to nameless, I say. We prefer honest to admired. We prefer free to photogenic. The blade writes "No trespass" across the air and the words sink into the room like law pouring concrete. The clerk closes the book with a soft thud that sounds like a heart choosing a new beat. A ribbon of gold wraps it now, not crimson. Your hand is still on the cover. It's shaking. That's fine. Shaking is your body's way of telling the room the old script is leaving. I lean in until my voice is almost warm. You did not betray them by speaking, I say. You stopped betraying yourself. You honored them by letting the truth finally breathe. We are not done. The court has 2 more revelations to bring forward, the object and the letter. But for today's hearing, this is enough. Your pulse steadies. The hall dims to a bearable radiance. On our way out, the shelves of living books bow their spines toward you. Not because you are a hero. Because you finally showed up. We step back across the threshold and the city returns, ceilings, clocks, refrigerators that hum. Nothing looks different. Everything is. The benefactor lingers outside your door like perfume that lost the wearer. It cannot enter unless you invite it. You won't. Before sunrise, do one thing: pour water into a glass and whisper, "This house drinks truth." Place it on the table and go to sleep under the new decree. The hall brightens again. The court has reconvened. I stand beside you while the great table rises from the floor, carved from something that looks like stone and light at once. A messenger approaches carrying a small chest, iron hinges, seal of wax the color of ash. It is humming faintly, as if it has been waiting for permission to breathe. This, the clerk says, was buried under the vow. The seal breaks on its own. Inside lies an object so ordinary it hurts, a silver key on a faded ribbon. You tilt your head, confused. That belonged to my grandfather's house, you whisper. The one that burned. The court nods. It also opens everything that still smolders. When I lift the key, sound collapses. Memories flash, locked drawers, secret ledgers, letters hidden behind wallpaper, the quiet panic of people who knew more than they were allowed to say. The key vibrates, showing scenes like smoke projected on air. You see a door labeled "Inheritance, do not open." Behind it, a ledger glowing with all the things your family traded for survival: dreams, love, rest, creativity, truth. Each entry is signed not in ink but in exhaustion. You step closer. Who profited from this, you ask? The answer materializes, a silhouette wearing a coat woven from other people's approval. The benefactor again, but smaller now, face flickering like static. I invested their silence, it sneers. It paid dividends in image. It extends a hand of smoke toward the key. I block it with my sword, the metal hums blue. Evidence is not yours to touch, I say. The court orders the record shown. Light spills across the floor, forming a balance sheet, one column labeled "Truth Suppressed," the other "Power Gained." As each line glows, the weight shifts, what once looked like security is revealed as debt. Every unspoken story became a chain linking generation to generation, and every act of pretense minted another coin in the benefactor's pocket. You tremble. We thought we were protecting each other. Protection built on pretending, I answer, always collects interest. The judge, light so bright it outlines everything, leans forward. Return the earnings. The benefactor laughs, high and thin. To whom? To the living, the voice says. To the ones who still carry the ache. At that command, the coins burst into feathers that streak toward the gallery. They settle on the shoulders of your ancestors and then dissolve, leaving warmth. The key in my hand cools. Its teeth reshape, the old burnished metal turns translucent gold. It's rewriting itself, you whisper. I nod. Because you claimed it. Objects remember intention. When the purpose changes, the metal obeys. I hand you the key. It fits perfectly in your palm, smaller than you imagined, heavier than guilt, lighter than shame. It will open only one door, I tell you. The door between pretending and presence. Use it once, after that, truth will never need a key again. The clerk unrolls a parchment, an addendum in the family book. The ink writes itself as the voice speaks. Let this line prosper through honesty. Let image die and integrity inherit. Let what was hidden become healing. Let the false prophets pay for peace. The script burns into gold and seals with your heartbeat. The benefactor shrinks further, cornered by the light. You can't erase me, it mutters. No, I answer, but we can bankrupt you. At my gesture, the great window of the hall opens, not outward, but inward. Wind rushes through every record on every shelf. Pages flutter, then settle. Each family represented here, yours, mine, countless others, shines with a new margin, restitution pending. The judge's hand rises again. Return the object. You hesitate, afraid to lose it. I shake my head gently. The lesson is complete when release replaces possession. You set the golden key on the table. The moment it leaves your skin, it dissolves into a beam of light that runs upward through the ceiling and vanishes. A bell sounds, the note of completion. The court murmurs approval. The air smells of rain after dust. I lean close enough for you to hear the words meant only for witnesses. Evidence has spoken. Judgment waits. The hall begins to fade, shelves dissolve into morning sky. You and I stand in the threshold once more. This is not the end, I warn. The court will call one more session. The letter remains unopened. You nod. The golden residue of the key still warms your palm like a heartbeat echo. When you wake, the city hums. A real envelope rests on your desk, old paper, unknown handwriting, the faint scent of smoke and lavender. The heading reads, To the heir of the vow. Morning light cuts across the desk. The envelope waits, edges trembling as if breathing. The wax seal bears no symbol, just the impression of a single tear drop, already dry. I stand behind you, the air cools, thin as cathedral glass. Open it, I say. You've already earned the words inside. You slide a finger under the flap. The paper sighs like it remembers fire. The first line glows before you read it. To the one who chose truth over tradition. The handwriting is old, uneven, human. Who wrote this, you whisper. The first one who wanted to, I answer. Someone who tried to break the vow before it hardened. The letter unfolds itself. Sentences crawl across the page as if still being written. I wanted to tell you the truth decades ago, but I feared it would unmake the family. I see now it was the silence that did. Forgive us for teaching you to carry image instead of honesty. Forgive us for decorating the cage and calling it home. We left you debts of secrecy, but also seeds of courage. I pray you'll spend both wisely. Tears sting but don't fall. The words shift again, still writing. There was money hidden, yes, but the true theft was time, years spent maintaining lies we could have spent loving each other. Take back that time however you can, rest, laughter, creation. That's the repayment heaven demands. The rest of the world will think you've slowed down, you will know you've reclaimed your inheritance. The ink stops, then one last line burns itself into the paper, letters made of gold. We release you. Build something true in our name. The paper folds to ash between your fingers. The ash doesn't fall, it gathers in a spiral that rises toward the ceiling and bursts into light. Out of that light, the court reforms one final time. We stand again in the Hall of Living Books, but now the shelves are open like wings. The judge's voice fills the air, calm and absolute. The testimony is complete. Restoration may proceed. The benefactor is gone, in its place stands only a faint echo, empty suit, no occupant. Justice in heaven never wastes rubble, it turns it into instruction. The echo becomes a plaque on the wall, false image, Exhibit A. Every visitor to the court will see it and remember what pretense costs. Sentence? I ask. Release, the voice replies. But let them feel the weight of honesty every morning, as proof of life. I approach you, sword lowered, light softened. Kneel. You do, not in shame, in comprehension. I touch the blade to your shoulder, sparks travel down your arms. Rise with authority. Your family's name is no longer a password for pain. It's a passport for peace. The gold residue from the letter flows into your chest, settles behind your heart, and pulses once. You inhale sharply, the air tastes like rain and iron. The court begins to dissolve again, this time not into nothing but into you. Shelves collapse into memory, judges into intuition, witnesses into empathy. All that remains is me, and even I begin to fade around the edges. Where do you go, you ask? I stay in the truth, I say. Wherever you speak it, I stand there. We step through the threshold together. The city greets you with ordinary noise, buses, dogs, human voices, but every sound feels tuned. On the table at home, the water glass from before the trial shimmers, inside it, gold dust swirls once and disappears. That night, you dream. You walk into the same hall of books, only now every volume is open and writing itself with laughter, new stories, children who never learn fear. The last page of your family book is blank except for one invitation written in light. Begin again. You look up, I am there, sword at ease. The cord is closed, I tell you. But truth keeps permanent chambers in your heart. Guard them. Morning arrives again. The key is gone, the letter is gone, the vow is gone, but the peace remains. You step outside, sunlight strikes the street and the pavement flashes as though applauding. Somewhere, in an unseen archive, the judge signs the final line. The city wakes as if someone finally let it exhale. No thunder follows you home. No trumpet, no sermon. Just morning light crawling across furniture that suddenly looks honest. Walls hum quieter when lies stop bouncing off them. You don't realize at first that heaven's court never closed, it simply moved into your living room. You make coffee. The sound of the kettle is steady, unhurried. Steam climbs like prayer with no words. The mug in your hand is warm, grounding. This is how redemption feels when it becomes practical, heat you can hold. Messages blink on your phone, routine and harmless, reminders, greetings, work notes. But one name sits heavier than the rest, someone who once demanded your silence. You hover over it, expecting the old tremor. It doesn't come. Peace has changed your reflexes. You write one simple line, I hope you're well. No sarcasm, no secret weapon. You send it and put the phone face down. Forgiveness has no audience, it performs best unseen. Outside, a child laughs in the street. The sound hits the air like sunlight breaking through old glass. You feel the vibration of that laugh down your spine, pure, unscripted, undeserved. That's the proof that the curse is broken, joy traveling freely through bloodlines again. I walk beside you, unseen but close enough to tilt the light. You don't need me to speak, the rhythm of your breathing already carries instruction. Still, I whisper once, so you don't forget. Truth is not a sword you carry, it's oxygen you share. All day, the world keeps offering small confirmations. The barista who once ignored you remembers your name. A coworker apologizes for something you'd already forgiven. An email arrives from a stranger thanking you for kindness you barely recall. Every event hums the same note, balance returning. Evening descends like gold dust. You sit at the table where the vow first trembled open inside you. The glass of water you left after the first trial still stands there, half evaporated. In the remaining water floats a single bubble that refuses to pop. When you touch the glass, it shivers, and then clears. The surface mirrors your face without distortion for the first time. You realize the house has changed its scent, no more dust of secrecy, just paper, citrus, rain. Space once rented by fear now belongs to light. You start cleaning drawers, not to purge but to make room. Old letters go into a box labeled archive, not altar. Photographs stay on the wall, but you no longer read them as evidence, you read them as testimony. We tried. We learned. We live. Midnight comes without dread. You open a window. Wind rushes in carrying the city's 1,000 prayers, some desperate, some holy, some identical to yours from years ago. You listen, smiling. That's when I speak again, softer this time. This is how heaven expands, through people who no longer lie to themselves. You nod, understanding. The stars look lower tonight, closer, almost curious. I remind you of one last assignment, keep telling the small truths. The big ones will guard themselves, but the small ones, those daily confessions of need, hope, affection, are how light stays anchored. You step outside barefoot. The street is cool, the air tastes of rain and beginnings. A neighbor waves, you wave back. No hidden meanings, no subtext. Just contact between two souls under open sky. That night you sleep deeper than memory. Dreams roll in like calm waves. No chases, no falls, no houses collapsing. Only the sound of pages turning somewhere far away, heaven updating your family book with the word peace stamped on every line. When dawn returns, you wake already smiling. The world looks the same, but you know the architecture underneath has changed. And though I've faded from your sight, you hear my final promise carried in the hum of the day. Whenever truth stands taller than fear, I am there. You breathe. You live. And heaven's court, now settled inside your heartbeat, keeps its silent vigil, page after glowing page.